Well, hello and welcome. Today we are on a little excursion to go find some Roman ruins, and possibly, if I have time and the weather holds up, I want to find the remains of an old castle that apparently was never completed because there's not a whole lot there, but I want to see it anyway. The Roman ruins are dated back to 350 AD. So that's pretty amazing in itself. Quite old. I am on my way, about 20-minute walk to go. I've been following this paved trail for about 10 minutes. If I'd have known that, I may have tried driving my car up farther to save me a bit of a walk, but we will get there nonetheless. So I hope you enjoy, and let's go see some Roman ruins. I don't think I've mentioned this enough. I absolutely love walking through the forests here in Germany. It reminds me a lot of back home in Wyoming. Obviously a lot different trees here. We have more pine trees in the mountains, but just the dense forest, wooded areas, and the peace and quiet that surrounds me. Nobody else out here. It is 11:45 a.m. on a Friday, so I don't expect there to be many people out here. I did pass one bicyclist. He was coming down right when I started, but that's been about it. I just love it out here, love it. Well, I really hope I'm going the right way. GPS has me coming up this way. There was a sign back there for the Grosseberg, but that's what I want to hit second if I have time. And this path shows me going this way, but then it kind of stops and then a dotted line into the forest. So hopefully I come across some small trails. I don't know that these are marked very well for where I want to go. From what I've researched, it didn't seem like it, but look at this road that I'm on. It's like a logging road. I mean, it's flat. I'm not chopping trees down to get through here, but hopefully I don't get up here and have to turn around and go somewhere else. Well, just as I suspected, this isn't the right way. Well, it won't focus very well, but I'm up there. That's where I want to go. The little dotted line disappeared, and there's absolutely no trail. What there is is a hill that goes straight up. So I have two choices. I can either keep going and it wraps all the way around and try it from the other side, or I go back the way I just came and try a different way. I don't know. I'm already going this way. I don't mind walking through here. This is going to be famous last words, but I'm going to just keep going along this logging trail of some sort, and we will see where we end up. It doesn't look like it'll rain anytime soon. The breeze came up. That's pretty nice. Feels good. I'm sweating. But I guess I'll check back in a little bit. Hopefully I don't get too backwards. I'm out of breath. So I took a break because I came across a bench down here. But this sign right here, if I can get it in frame, Rundgang, I believe means tour. And if I hold the mic not at arm's length, maybe you'll be able to hear me. But that means tour. And I also came across a sign here talking about Der Grosse Berg, which is the remains of what I would like to see if I can find these Roman ruins. And then I also found this path here that leads straight up that way. And then there's another sign over here. I can't quite read from down here. Ausgang? Why would that say that? I don't know. Maybe that's how you get out of here. But anyway, I am going to take my chances. I got a 50-50 shot here. Maybe the one on the right. I'll check my GPS to see if that's kind of where the direction I want to go. But I needed to take a break because my back is sweaty. And luckily, there's a nice little bench here. I did bring my backpack. It's got my camera because I wanted to take some photo. Ooh, my back is cold. But I also have a tripod with me this time, so my bag's a little bit heavier than normal. But I'm gonna take a little short break here, and then we will try scaling this mountain, I guess. Too old for this. Here goes nothing. So I have made a decision on which direction I'm going to go. Now this path, at least right here, looks more worn. So you'd think that would be the way. However, this path isn't quite as worn, at least right here. I might get up a little bit and see what it looks like. But this sign actually does not say Ausgang. It says Aufgang, which means rise. I don't know what that means, but I'm going to follow the sign, right? When all else fails, follow the signs. And this is not quite as steep. I mean, I'm only at the beginning, so we'll see. But I'll trek up here a ways. Hopefully this is the right way, because from where I stopped before, because my GPS stopped, that was about 12 minutes ago. So it wasn't too far further down that logging road thing. But I don't know, if all else fails, I'll have a nice hike through the forest and through spider webs. I don't know if this is a good idea, because all I'm thinking about right now are ticks in this tall ass grass. Ticks and mites. And if you saw my short recently, you know how they like to attach themselves to me. So I will be doing a full and thorough investigation once I get back. Boy, when it says rise, it ain't lying. Oh, I think I might have made it. I hope this is where I was planning on going. But you can see all the stonework here. Super cool. Not much here at all. But I knew that. I knew that coming in. What's up here? Now that says Rundgang again. I bet I could have come up the other way as well. The natural world. Natural forest, I should say. Wow. I'm gonna pause here a bit and figure out, oh, there's more up here. I think this is the photo I saw online. Moss covered rocks. like I said, these Roman ruins date back to 350 AD. They were excavated in the 80s. And I mean, there's not much left, you know? I mean, that was a crap ton of time ago. Wonder if all this is part of it. I don't know if you can see all these rocks here. Looks like there's a carving on that one. And down here. So I'm gonna take a look around and see what I can find, and then we'll come back and I'll explain a little bit more about the history of this. But wow, if the trees weren't so big, I think you'd be able to see for days out here. So let's take a look around, and then I'll come back and explain a little bit more. These ruins date back to about 350 AD, and they were excavated and researched back in the 80s under archaeologists by the name of Helmut Bernard. And they say that a hill was always a good place to set up a settlement, because you get a good overview of the surrounding area, especially during the Bronze and Iron Ages. However, a lot of these hilltop settlements were abandoned no later than the 1st century AD, because as the Romans became increasingly more dominant in Europe, they started to change their preference and preferred the low valleys for their new cities and towns, which is unfortunate, because a lot of these hilltop settlements, we don't know anything about the builders, what they were used for, who lived here, or anything like that. And there's only a couple places that have actually been excavated and you know, brought back to life, if you will. So we know very little about who did this, why, what the purpose was. But typically these weren't, this one especially wasn't a military site. Most likely just a small village. Also located here is a cremation burial ground, and they found about 90 burials here. Unfortunately, the tests are still pending, so we don't know much about the results or anything about the results on what they found yet. There's also been a lot of finds that have accumulated above the rock floor in the so-called cultural layer. And some of these include ceramics, but also some glass, non-ferrous metal, and iron objects like hairpins, tools, a small bell even, and some wagon parts. And also some non-ferrous metal and iron ingots were found. And this indicates that metalworking was practiced in this settlement. So that's pretty interesting that they did basically like a blacksmith here on this site. And the only weapon found is a broken piece of a spearhead. Now this is just crazy. I love history, as many of you already know, but to be walking around on a site that was built in the year 350 AD, I mean, that's just hard to wrap my head around how old that is. You know, the United States became the United States in 1776. 350 AD, Romans were wandering around in these hills, making fire and creating wagon parts and living a life, you know, that was very tough at the time. I often joke about wishing I could go back and live, you know, in the time of medieval times and Roman times and whatnot. But I mean, I don't want to like permanently live like that. If I could pop in and then, okay, shit's starting to get real, pop back out, that would be amazing. Just to see how they lived and the hardships they went through, and, you know, the battles that they had to fight. You know, this hilltop you can see forever. And these trees in 350 AD weren't here. So they had a much clearer vision of the valley surrounding this. It's mind-boggling. I mean, look, there's some more down here. You know, it's just incredible. You know, I really can't put into words exactly what I'm feeling, you know, but okay, as we head back, let's wrap this up. I highly recommend it. If you're in the area, make the trip up here. It didn't take me too long, even without knowing exactly where I was going. Maybe 35-minute walk from the car. I parked down by the Mexican cantina. You know, it was a paved road most of the way, and then just onto that logging road. I'm sure I could have gone the other way and made it as well, but now I want to see if I can find the actual castle that got started but never finished. So let's see if we can find that. Okay, I just wanted to give you a quick update here. I was thinking something different, but when you see signs for Grosseberg, that is the Roman ruins. I thought that was the other place, but that's Kleineberg, or Little Mountain. This is Big Mountain. So if you see the signs for Grosse Berg, that is where you want to come if you want to see the Roman ruins. Now we're going to try and head toward Kleineberg.